Jrue Holiday is using a sneaky trick in each one of these clips that you can see on your screen right now. His defense gets me and this guy appropriately excited. Who remembers this play? On the surface, it's a forced turnover, but the reality is Jrue is making plays that no other defender in the history has been making. After studying hours and hours of game film, I've realized that Jrue is basically a monster at getting through screens. One tactic he uses is using a spin move where he plants his left foot and rotates with his right foot when he feels that he can't get through that screen well enough. The reason this is so effective is because it saves a lot of time if you can actually effectively spin in the manner that he does. Jrue is also a cheat code with fighting over the top of screens with something that I like to call getting skinny, where essentially he is just getting as skinny as he can, but it's not as easy as it sounds. Jrue does a great job at starting in his low stance to fight over the top of the pick and then getting upright and as skinny as possible. Now this is executed about as perfect as you can get it, as Jrue always takes up as much airspace as he can possibly fit into. After all of that, you're still going to see an immense level of defensive IQ as he adjusts his angle against DeMar because Brook Lopez is in drop coverage helping, so he completely guards him sideways. Therefore, not only taking away the passing angle, but using active hands, pro tip, to get that beautiful steal. We get another scenario here where this time his man does not use the screen, but Holiday has a tremendous lateral quickness, and although he's made some of the biggest plays in NBA history, which we'll get into later, Jrue doesn't always necessarily take gambles, which is actually what makes him so elite. He is such a sound and solid defender that coaches trust. Jaylen Brown is here trying to split a double team, so Jrue gets really low and bends down as far as he can to the ground so he can get active hands and get the nice steal. I always call this technique a body hop instead of a bunny hop, and essentially he uses this to body defenders with his hands back once again, so then he does not get called for that foul. When Jrue wants to, he can definitely play ultra aggressive because he knows that he has an elite set of rim protectors with Giannis and Brook. These guys are the perfect complement to Jrue's style of defense, and this guy knows it. Jrue Holiday. That's another one of Jrue's biggest plays of all time, saving the game, but I want to show you the why. And it's all about bodying defenders and absorbing contact. Jrue has great instincts and he steps into defenders and absorbs the contact. As soon as that absorption happens, he gets handsy, and that is when he goes for steals and attacks the ball. I sounded a little bit angry there, but his defense just is so fiery. Look at him absorbing body contact first and then going for the steal. This is the main reason why Jrue doesn't get called for that many fouls, considering how aggressive his D is, because he allows that referee to relax when he's not using his hands, and then when the referee is relaxed, he can attack for that steal. Look at how different defenders are guarding DeMar DeRozan in this situation. They're not bodying him, they're not playing too tight to him, and he is the king of the mid-range, where Holiday, even though DeRozan is not a three-point shooter, he bodies him from a distance, which doesn't allow DeMar to get going and get to his spot the way he wants to. Jrue's only 6'3", but has a 6'7" wingspan, which helps him contest these type of shots. These tactics especially work well against larger offensive players such as LeBron James, as he has no choice but to attack the ball low before he gets the ball above his shoulders.
Booker the drive, gets inside, leans in, knocked away and stolen by Holiday. Phoenix has to foul, and a pinnacle ball throws it.
Jrue Holiday has probably the greatest help side instincts for a guard in the entire NBA, maybe in the history of the NBA, and he's actually been using this tactic for a really long time. Jrue is always paying close attention to the eyes, and if they are not looking or paying attention, his spider sense is engaged, where he is able to then sneak around and use his strength to rip that ball from his hands. Jrue notices Rudy Gobert is not looking at his defender, so he just completely leaves him and then once again uses those lightning quick hands to get that steal. Jrue does this high risk play usually against bigger defenders because their heads are usually down as they don't have the same dribbling abilities. However, Jrue will do this against anybody if their head is down. He trusted his instincts in one of the biggest games of his career by leaving Jaylen Brown wide open when they were up by 3 points because Marcus Smart had his eyes down, and then he gets extra low as usual and then uses those quick hands to get the steal, and Marcus Smart gets the nice little flail at the end of that play, and this guy is pretty stoked. However, that help side play was not nearly as epic as this. Watch once again how Holiday completely abandons his man once he sees a commitment to the basket with a head down. But what makes this play even more special is he uses his fingertips to slow the ball down so it doesn't go out of bounds. Now, Holiday actually trains for this. This is against Svi Mykhailiuk from the Raptors, and you can see him doing a closeout drill where he blocks this at the rim. Holiday's blocking ability is elite because look how little he actually has to load his legs to get that high in the air. That is a really quick jump. And that quick jump is the reason why he stole the game with blocks 2 times versus the exact same team. There are certainly players in the NBA who can jump a lot higher, but they also need a lot bigger load to do this, where Holiday actually has really quick springs, and this is probably my favorite block of them all. Even though Jrue has all these great qualities about him, I do have an issue with some of his offensive game, which you can check out over here.